On June 13th for official library business, which was the East Cleveland Public Library Staff Development Day. And during that event, we had 32 library attendees or library employees who attended. And we partnered with the Northeast Ohio Regional Library System to carry out training for staff enrichment. And we started at 8:30 with breakfast, and we moved into scenario-based learning activities related to us moving forward in times of change. So we were able to identify speakers and topics in order to facilitate the events of the day. So we had workshops including titles such as this: Moving Forward in Times of Change, Communicate Change, so the whole staff hears, customer service to marginalized populations, what your body language is saying to your coworkers and patrons. And we had speakers that included Marty Keaton. She used to work with the Veteran Administration, so she did a lot of work with Vietnam veterans and transitioning them back into normal life. And we had Jan Ridgway, one of my favorites. She used to be my boss at Cleveland Public Library. She's also the head of one of the most premier community agencies now in Garden Valley Neighborhood Center. We also had Holly Klingerger and Mr. Robert Sappho. So staff also got gifts such as a pedometer, so we can make sure they walk and stay fit. And we also make sure they had participant forms to go, certificates of participation, to go on their personnel files. June 26th to July 2nd, we had several library employees, including myself, that traveled to the American Library Association conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was blazing hot. It was 109 degrees, so it was an amazing transition from our weather here. So we were able to have the opportunity to network with other library professionals and paraprofessionals, and we were able to gain an overview of the larger issues that are impacting libraries and library services across the country. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much for the report. Yes?
For the record. This June 21st, through August 20th, Talk to Me, a youth discussion series. The 13 attendees, they attended over this period. Was this 2 events or 1 event?
Every week they participated for a workshop.
And so 13 attendees was the absolute total over the entire
Yes.
course of it? Well, I'm very interested in the library working with youth. And this is something that I'm going to take on as a way to try to improve the numbers and participants and speakers. Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the critical opportunities was an organizational charter in place to help us to have the supervisors in place to push for those numbers, to freely engage the staff. When people feel as if it's not that big of a deal, you don't necessarily get the turnout. We have to have the turnout. We need to have the engagement. We need to beat the pavement. We need to do as much as we can to engage our public. And I think when you think about all of the transitions we've faced, it's a re-engagement piece. So once we're more re-engaged, we can be more focused in making sure we can get the turnout.
Thank you.
And just to say, I stopped in while that was going on, and even though there was low turnout, the template is a very good one. And the actual interaction of those who were there was very substantive. So I think, it's a very good program that I think should continue, and we should thank the administration for putting that forward, and we'll just look into ways of expanding the knowledge of them and get better participation. But I think sometimes it may have been a blessing rather than a curse when there are people, when you only have a couple of people, sometimes you can have more substantial communication. But, for the first run, I really was impressed by what I did see when I did stop in.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us. That concludes the director's report. Are there any additional questions, anyone? Comments?
I do have one, in reference to I just wanted to ask the director, for the American Library Association, for the staff persons who attended, you have all the reports that you brought, okay. I move that we accept the director's report as it stands.
Second.
Thank you. It has been properly moved and second that we accept the report of our director, Sheila Marcus Bay. Call for the vote.
Mr. Bibb?
Yes.
Mr. Branch?
Yes.
Mr. Silvera?
Yes.
Mr. Fambro?
Abstain.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Ms. Sinor?
Yes.
Dr. Rice?
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 abstention.
Motion carried. Thank you. May we have fiscal officer's report?
Madam President, I need to pass out the report.
Okay.
It's all emailed to you.
Ms. James, would you give us
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My voice is almost gone, but I'd like to read this report. Very elated to say we are up to date in the UAN. There are still some things that need to be tweeted and tweaked, but we are up to date to use our system. Over a year and a half. Our UAM system, the CFO has brought the finance department current. Has brought the finance department current as of July 31st. The revenues, expenses, and encumbrances in the UAN system, and all that is relayed to you on your long sheet. This is not green and white, but the long sheet tells you what you've all been asking for. What is the budget? What is encumbered? What is unencumbered? What is the percentage?
Wow.
So I had the bank statements that you have in front of you, the bank balances, it all has been emailed to you in your packets. You don't have color packets, I'm sorry, but the packet with the bank statements attached and the balances, we have in the bank, or had, because I've spent more money, $1,108,448.56 as of the end of July. You have that money in our accounts, in our six bank accounts.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question, please?
Could you wait till she finishes this little part and then ask a question, please?
Okay. As of August 2014, the CFO has started processing checks through the UAN system. The combined financial statements, the auditor has requested, they have been submitted to him. The state audits, we are now with 2010 and 11 audit has now been completed. When we started, we were at 2009. We're now moving forward to commence with the 2012 and 13 audit. A date has not been set yet. We are working with the auditor to schedule the upcoming audits forthwith. Finance Department operational procedures. The Finance Department procedures are being reviewed and revisions are being drafted where necessary. Credit cards. The use of credit cards is permitted by the ORC 3375.392. Ruling is attached to your packets, the last page. I have researched the secured credit cards and prepaid credit cards. My recommendation is we can avoid using them at this time with proper planning and budget allocations. We can eliminate, with budget allocations, we can eliminate the extra expenses. Also, if we must get one, we should proceed cautiously and establish a prepaid credit card through KeyBank because of our existing longstanding relationship with them. Mr. Doug Evans, Executive Director of OLC, or the Ohio Library Council, recommends against prepaid credit cards due to the fact there is no oversight, reporting, and monitoring of the cards. We must train the cardholders very well so they know what allowable purchases are and what purchases are not. We must have internal safety measures and timely expense reporting procedures and submissions to curb any fraud or misuse of the cards because it is a non-traditional credit card. No library system in the state of Ohio has a prepaid credit card. Vacation and sick time. Vacation and sick time reports have been submitted to the president only as requested. This report is ongoing and changes on a biweekly swing. This report is maintained on Excel, on an Excel spreadsheet, and on ADP, which is being updated. It's not correct at the moment, but we're working on it. Security officers. The contract was executed with Securitas Security by the director, Sheba Marcus Bay. Securitas has provided a copy of the current certificate of insurance upon request from the CFO, indicating they carry adequate general liability insurance. Securitas will provide a roster and a copy of all security guards' IDs that will be assigned to our location. I spoke with their field representative who informed me in the event of an incident, each individual guard must account for their actions. As a result, the library's current policy with West Bend Insurance will stay in effect. Bobby Davis has been hired as an armed guard, an armed independent contractor to cover the monthly board meetings. The budget. The 2014 budget has been submitted for approval to the ECPL board, the Finance Committee, and the state auditor. The 2015 budget has been submitted for approval to the ECPL School Board and the ECPL Library Board and the Finance Committee. We have submitted a request for an extension. The request has been denied. My fault, I did not do it in time. If we don't submit a budget, the ECPL Library will be out of compliance and the rate of return might be lower than expected. Due to the increase in wages, staff changes, insurance premiums, settlements from 2010 through 2013, retirements, and prior year bills owed, this has eroded the budget surplus that ECPL had at the start of the year. Our recommendation is to take time and review the budget line by line for the last quarter of a year and adjust accordingly. And lastly, I would just like to say please note that all appropriations, revenue, and expense reports have now been issued to the board. Thank you.
Questions for the fiscal officer?
Would you repeat the number? Now, I'm assuming that since all numbers are plugged into the UAN system at this time, then you've drawn your amount from the UAN system. In other words, the million plus that you spoke of earlier in your report, you did draw that from the UAN system, am I correct? And not QuickBooks?
No, this is drawn from your bank accounts. This is exactly what is in your bank. That 1,108,000, that's what's in your bank.
Would you repeat that figure again, please?
$1,108,448.56 as of July 31st, because money has gone out since then,
Okay.
is the bank balance at that time.
Yeah, now we have been saying for a while, a good while, that the library had money. And this, I think is very key for this library and this community, that at this time, you can report with the numbers in front of the trustees, that we have over $1 million. That I've learned that I was conservative in saying only $1 million. We are beyond that. Community, we have money over here at this library. We also have a lot of responsibility that goes along with that. But this goes against those who were saying you don't have any money. You gotta give your library away. You have no money and get out of here and all of that. So you see who was right at this point. Thank you very much.
You will. Just keep it conservative, Mr. Figueroa. Thank you.
Your report. I'm mad.